Hey guys, this is Dardamos of Dardamos Dominions, along with my co-host, guest star, Khan, my son. So if you hear any screaming in the background, that's him, or maybe we just had a really bad fight. So last time we went over episodes 5 and 6. Today we are on episode 7. We are deep in our war against Ulm. Ulm has decided that after taking one province that they were not going to take any more, which I appreciate. Um, and we'll go over some of the more general strategies when we get into that. But let's go over the battles and just see what we did in our counter attack against Ulm. So this is his army, which is in this weird sparse line, and the reason I don't like this line is that he's going to end up with 3 attacks per square, which isn't bad. I mean, it's still like, what is it, 60 damage? And these guys cannot take 60 damage. Now, one interesting thing about these Nephil giants is that right now their protection is 17. This is not normal. The reason they've gotten their protection and their attack and their stats are all so ridiculously high is they have this ice protection. What happens is that they're getting, they get cold power as well. Because it's a cold province, they are going to be stronger. And so this is not going to be very good for Ulm. He's got a weird formation against a bunch of troops that have high protection. It's like they're only gonna take 3 damage per hit from those guys, and they have regeneration. So, I mean, there's gonna be losses. But unless they really start getting a lot of attacks per square, it's gonna end up well for Niflheim. At least that's my thought so far. These archers and these militia are not, they don't really count. I mean, it's the militia if they go around the side. So let's go into what happens here. So the first thing that's happening are these axes are being thrown. Now, even if they hit at this point, they're not going to deal enough damage to trigger a they're not going to trigger an affliction, or they it's a small chance that they get an affliction, and they're sure as heck not going to kill these guys. I mean, these guys have got 66 hit points. How much exploding hit point or exploding dice would you need to get? Like, I get 60 plus, so I get 77 to my dice rolls, and you get 17. It's just not going to happen unless they all hit the same guy and all get really lucky, and like, it's just not going to happen, guys. The other thing is that they're dealing slash damage instead of pierce damage, and slash damage, I think it like gives you 50% post protection damage. So, like, these guys deal 20 damage. The other guy has 17 protection. On average, you're going to deal about 3 damage. Slashing would bring that up to, like, 5. And 5 damage isn't going to kill these Nephil giants. Not unless you get, 7 or 8 of these guys wrapping around. So, what these guys want to do is, let me get my pencil out real quick. These guys have got a small line here. Now, because of the raw numbers of humans, they could easily match that line and then flank around the side. And this blob right here is very, very scary. But they're set to fire. So what's going to happen instead, and we're going to see this in this battle, is that the Nephil giants are going to go up and just start giving. I mean, these guys are all just going to die immediately. And if you see, this tile right here, I'm not going to use the pen because I want you to see this tile and how important this tile is right here. This tile's empty. When this tile became empty, Ulm lost this battle. This cannot happen. These guys down here that are closer to our screen need to wrap around. But instead, if we watch, they're busy dealing 1 damage by throwing an axe, and this guy heals up 7. It's also being, they're also, okay, so at this point we're kind of getting scared. But we wrap around here, and they've lost 2 attacks worth of very critical attacks. this guy is in a little bit of danger, but because this giant is kind of holding the flank, it's not as bad. But you see, this dude's taking a lot of damage. If he would have died, then they would have gone to the next guy and then gibbed him, and the next guy and gibbed him, and they would have rolled up the flank. And instead of rolling up the flank, they threw their axes. Especially as Alm, that this is unacceptable. This guy might die. I think he's gonna die. You good, dude? Yeah, you need Daddy to help you out? Yeah, okay, here you go. Okay. So, hopefully if you're an Ulm player, that you learn from this, or if you're playing against giants, just know you need to flank around the giants. You need to get this salient in the line right here. This guy is going to die, and if he would have died sooner, I mean, it's like, I think these guys cost 450 gold. So 450 gold is like 45 of these guys is worth the money. So like, you know, yeah, it's totally different. I think it's 45. He loses, by the way. Oh, it's 150. I'm sorry. So it's 150. So that's, if he would have killed 2 of these guys, he would have came out just about even in gold. If he would have killed 3, he would have came out ahead. And I think he could have killed, I mean, he would have killed at least 2 of them, maybe even 3. And once he got to 3, they're in fear of running away. You can only, because of our turmoil, he can only produce so many of these. The turmoil, and I think we have sloth as well. We would have lost very badly if he would have done these guys in a better position. Now his entire expansion force is done. This entire thing is dead, and he's lost a province. Okay, so let's go on to our favorite little expansion party that has done well so far. Okay, so as you can see at this point, I mean, this is just the sorriest group of misfits in the world. They've all got afflictions. This guy's he's lost an arm. This guy's limping or crippled. We saw last time there's a limp. Some of his other guys are just straight up missing because they probably died on the march. It's one of the things that stinks about Niflheim is that, you know, if you do take an affliction, you really want the cold. So like it's gonna end up really bad for you. Yeah. Okay, so in response, this is a ton of PD. In addition, they've got these Jade Mains, which are really cool units. They take a bless, so you could, I mean, we could theoretically recruit these guys, and I don't remember if my buddy ends. Oh no, he doesn't take this province here. You want up? No. No? What do you want to do? Oh, you want to go back there? Okay, go for it. So they take a bless. So you can actually, we could have them regenning 1 hit point per turn, and I think we have the blood surge. So that would actually be really good on these guys because they have the light lance, and they have 2 attacks per turn. So sorry, my son is. I set up the room. I hope the acoustics sound good because I set up my own room, so I have like this little recording studio where I can, like, you know, well, not recording studio, closet where the children can't reach me, and I got the door closed right now, but he made his way in, so he's kind of enjoying the new room and finding its corners. He's got his little iPad and found a corner, and he's happy. So hopefully you'll hear more of me talking at this point. So these Jade Maidens they're sacred, so they're especially with some nations, they're really, really good. They're just they kind of round out some of your troops, and it's kind of one of those rare units that's a normal unit that you can get that's actually a quality unit. So he pumped PD here, expecting my buddy to attack, and it is a good strategy. But at this point, we've seen that's a lot of PD. That's a lot of PD. And then this is a lot of PD. And when you see a lot of PD, you start realizing that your opponent may be an AI playing against an AI. Playing against the AI, one of the best ideas to do is just to pump PD. It does it for two reasons. Number one, the AI doesn't attack high PD provinces unless there's like no other choice. The second thing is that it normally the AI doesn't know how to script mages very well, so usually the AI will take pretty big losses to PD just because they don't know how to kill it with evocations or with summons or with whatever you're gonna use, what a player would use. This right here is dangerous to our force here because it's a worn out expansion party, but a solid expansion party with like sacreds are going to demolish this. Well, probably not this. I don't know. Well, we'll see how we do against it. I mean, there's still a big chance that we win. I mean, it's only PD. You need to learn how to move away from the PD. Like I said, like you keep around 6 in the province, and that ends up costing you like 30 gold, I think. So it's less than that. It's like 25-ish. Okay, so as you saw, we took a bunch, or maybe you saw, we took a whole ton of damage from his first attack. This light lance has a charge bonus, and it's piercing, so that's pretty dangerous to our Nephil giant. And I've been missing. I thought this guy was actually one of our commanders, and he was just a standard Nephil giant. So he's already taken a ton of damage, and if you see, this is a bleed, if I remember correct. I think it's a bleed. And if it gets to the max, it's really bad. Oh no, that's his damage. So he's taken that much of his damage, and when it reaches all across his portrait, that means he's dead. He's weakened, meaning he's going to kill guys a lot slower. He's regenning, which is good, so we might actually have a chance. But now the PD is starting to do what his, like, these wimpy little spear guys are able to do a better job killing giants, and granted, these giants are much smaller, than what his axe-throwing giant killers were able to do, simply because of a scripting, of the way he's scripted. And not only that, but these guys down here, these are the Axemen too. And you're going to see they do a much better job. I mean, they're already eating the crap out of them just because they've gotten that salient. And at this point, we're running away. Now, the nice thing is our Nephil giant is going to get away, albeit that he's weakened, but we don't care. He's another giant in the line, and that's the idea. When you get giants, you want to keep your line. When you're playing as humans against giants, you need to flank around their side. Even though this was a loss, it was a really crappy expansion party. We kept the Jotun Goad and the Nephil giant. So these guys, I mean, I know it says like 30 gold and 30 gold, but we didn't lose anything as our starting. We got this stuff for free, and it's crap. Like, it's stuff that we won't build again. So ultimately, the two items that we did want to keep, we ended up keeping the two units that we wanted to keep. Okay, so now my battles against indies. Now at this point, my buddy has stopped expanding, and I need to start doing our spinning. What's up? Thank you. I will keep it forever. So let's watch the first battle against the, this is the militia? Oh no, this is a lot of heavy infantry. Oh my. Okay, so we might have a problem. Like we said, like, we're giants, we're afraid of being flanked. So here comes our wolves, and please, please, please break up this formation. It didn't break up the formation very well. Now, they don't have a solid line, and they're going to hit me a little, not solidly. And if you saw, we just got a regen tick because they hit us with an arrow on top of it. So let's talk about what's going to happen. Why did I put this guy here? Well, it extends my line, and like we talked about before, we don't want to be flanked. So at this point, my guy is going to be taking less hits. It's just like the Nephil giants. Now, we've got a line already, and he's already starting to get the crud kicked out of him. This is very scary for me. At this point, I'm like, yeah, he should be able to win from his fear, but we're going to get some afflictions out of this, guys. And And we're seeing a lot of little damage, This guy's actually surviving, though, and it's making my guy hopefully not get afflictions. We're going to find out. Now, these guys have a morale of 10, meaning that they get to add 10 to their roll. We get to, they're against an 11, and eventually they break. Now, it took a while. Now, this guy was a hero, and he lasted that entire time. I don't know how he did it, because that's pretty flippin' awesome. And let's see. We have 0 afflictions. We got lucky. Just straight up. One of those fights, one of those attacks I feel should have done. I mean, it was, granted, it was only like a 2% chance, but there were a lot of 2% chances. And, so we got our, you know, sometimes you win them, sometimes you don't, and in that one we won. And I think that it was partially due to the amount of Jaku who ran away, and he was a hero. Okay, so our elephants, let's see this battle. So the problem that we have is that these slingers, we talked about them with the giants and said they're not scary. Well, with the Kohoni they are, because they're gonna be throwing a stone at us, and it's going to deal 8 damage, and we only have a protection of 3. So these guys will take 5 damage on average from each of these guys, which is not good. Now, the nice thing is that, the protection of 11, they might hit their war elephants and might actually deal damage. Now, we set our war elephants to fire or to hold an attack because I kind of want these guys to stay around, especially with the war. I thought before that I kind of wanted them to hit first, but I guess I didn't. Now, this is one of the keys. Now, trampling does something like some sort of damage based on your size. So I think they end up dealing like 5 damage each time they trample. And what's happened is if you look at these guys down here, some of them are gray. And they've got cool looking eyes. And what this is that they have an immortality. Immortality gives them like a second form. And if they live, they will live again. Bless you, dude. They'll reform, and they'll lose their cool eyes, and they'll get their cool pink skin again. But that'll be after the battle. If they die again, they're gone for good. So what's happened is these guys have all taken charges, and because they've got a second form, they move into that second form. And because they're so interspersed, like if you see, this guy's got he's got 2 guys in a square, so the elephant's only going to trample 2 of them. And then this guy's now got, 10 guys surrounding him. This is actually what you wanted against the giants. Is I want the elephants to charge into my ranks. We surround them and we chop them down. This guy's got 3 hit points left. I'll give you a spoiler. I don't think he's gonna live. Poof. Okay. So at this point, our elephants have hit their elephants. And I can't really tell what's going on because their elephants and our elephants all look the same. Maybe, yeah, I think all their elephants are dead. Okay. And at this point, we are set. We have won. Because the slingers attacked the elephants and not our troops, that actually went much better than we expected. And we only lost 3 troops. Against an elephant province, this is a flippin' victory and a half. If we wouldn't have if the slingers would have hit our demons, we would have been this would have been a disaster. Well, I mean, not a disaster. An expected, we would have taken expected losses rather than like this, which is absolutely gorgeous. We lost fewer troops than they had war elephants. So really, really good, and we now have an army that we can keep on expanding or helping out Niflheim with. So, this is the one that we just watched. Okay, so our other Dione is now going. We have actually, this is legit 3 provinces per turn on we're already on turn 7, and yeah, so turn 7 we're getting 3 provinces per turn. This is really good. Okay, luckily we rolled a lot of wolves, because Lion Tribe are scary, like I had said before, but like look at this. This is gorgeous. Um so we're gonna speed this up a little bit because this is nothing that we haven't seen yet. And what ends up happening is we exchange fire. And right here, the fear is already starting to attack and they've got a low morale. We should expect them to rout pretty quickly, and we're not really in much danger. So let's see how this works. Let's go a little faster. Okay, so they're plinking us a lot, but not more than our regens kind of keeping it up. We are getting bled out, which really stinks. But long story short, because of our wolves, that actually worked very, very, very well. So no losses, 3 solid expands with very few with very few losses. So that's the battles. Let's go into Diplo real quick. So as we talked about, we've gotten good borders with Yomi. And this is kind of where a little bit of fun happened. We end up, and I believe it's this turn that a sub is called in for Ulm. They saw this turn, and then they started saying, yeah, I need to stale next turn, I think he said, or like the turn after, because I need to go out of town every weekend. And I mean, it was really, really odd. And like I'm kind of new, and I don't know if that's normal that people are like, yeah, I'm gonna have to stale every 2 weeks on the weekends. Or you guys can like not play during the weekends, which I mean, if we knew about it beforehand, I mean, we could have talked about it, and that's, you know, you're a group of guys playing, you just, you know, you play the style you want to, and if you want to play no weekends, I mean, I think that's legit, but we had no clue. So I talked to him, and he accepted that he'd get a sub. His ally, his disciple who didn't know him beforehand, was kind of, he was like asking for a sub too. And it gets into another one of the noob things, and why people don't like disciples matches is that, you know, I work very hard to make sure that nobody stales in these games. I'll send private messages, I'll extend turns. I'm very, very, you don't want this the game to have one guy stale and then the other guy to lose out because of it. The commitment to dominions is very strong, and the temptation to get into a lot of games is very high, and so you end up with a lot of games, you end up with a high commitment, and a lot can go late. And I mean, I think around like 15 or 20 of this game, I just got very overwhelmed with some of the other games that were finishing up. I think that I might have been in Macabre at this time, which is the other game I played with my partner here. And that one was getting a little bit rough. But the first 12 turns are pretty easy. There's no real reason to stale unless you're just, you know, not keeping up with the turns. And so this guy kind of left us high and dry. Now, one of the nice things is I had a guy that was... He's a really cool guy. He subbed for me in Macabre, the other Disciples game I played, and he came in as a hero. But if you want to look at what's happening, we now know that this is an indie province. This is probably not his capital, meaning this is his capital. Meaning by turn 7, Ulm has 4 provinces and has just lost a major battle. I believe that well, he might have known about having to take a break every weekend. I don't know if it seemed kind of fishy to me. And so I felt really bad for the sub, because I'm like, we're at war with them. We're not willing to go to peace. We're winning at this point, and we won because we outplayed the guy. Like he had a bad formation, we had the good formation, and we won. So I didn't feel right being like, hey, can you join the game? And by the way, we'll give you peace because we're nice guys. Like, even if we give him peace, I'm not giving up any of these provinces. And here's Lanka. So Ulm is just in a unwinnable situation, untenable situation. And my hat's off and to the guy that took over, because he took a very bad situation where he's not going to win. Arco has the ability to win at this point, and I mean he does have a decent army still here, but he's not going to be creating a big army. It's going to be he's going to be on the back foot, and not only that, but if you see, I'm coming in to support my ally at this point. And I'll probably be sending my Dex Dione maybe coming down this road and maybe looking to help out as well. So, what that means is that diplomatically we are still at war. We're going to stay at war, but Arco is kind of scary to me. They can do some pretty deep raids. I play another game where they did some work. So they are scary, and this team is not out, but they're on their back feet or back foot. So they're on their back foot. So that's where diplomacy is. Let's talk about our turn moves real quick. So this guy's gonna come down here, and I think I talked about earlier how okay. One thing is, one of the really good things. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going through my buttons, so if you see things, okay. So if you push 9. You can see the names of provinces, and EA lets you see one away. So I came here, and I got to Wesh, I think, and I was able to see Tianqi. Now I know Tianqi's here. My goal initially was to block off this and like this area right here, but a good expanding player will probably have already taken that one. By turn 7, and if he's not, he's doing it because he's strong in other directions, and it would just be luck. So I'm kind of at this point I'm hoping to take this throne, so I'm taking the main army back here. I'm pinging the throne, and I'm going to see what's inside of here. This guy's coming over, gonna hit these heavy infantry. We haven't seen this province before, I don't think, so we don't know what's in it. This could be a lot more troops, but pretty confident. We're going to go kill these Bear Tribe. Bear Tribe, I think, have better defense. My partner, on the other hand, he's still very confident. He's going to be heading. We're almost positive at this point that this is Ulm's capital. It theoretically could be this one, but more than likely it's this one. We really want to... we really want to take... to just sit on his capital. And that's where it gets into the strategy that goes behind a war. And I'm sorry, this one turn, it's an early turn and it's taking a long time. But now that we're at war, we need to talk about strategy and how to win a war. Now at this point, Ulm has 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll pretend he has this 5th one. I don't know if he does or not. But so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. More than likely, since it's turn 7, he only has a single fort. What that means is that if my buddy goes like this, here, and then does a pincer attack, he will have, he'll be sitting on the guy's capital, and he's going to, oh, that's kind of cool. I didn't realize I could do a smaller one. Okay, sorry guys, playing around. There we go. And, We'll have taken over his throne. He'll have 0 production, and that will turn it into a 2v1. In addition, if we're able to put enough on here that he can't actually attack it, it will bring Arco's army to bear. And if we beat Arco's army, we win this entire war, and we can do it before turn 12. I'm bringing down these elephants to make sure that we help destroy Arco's army. This army possibly will work, but right now with the formation that it's in, it's not looking good. I'm pretty sure the new player, I didn't write down when the new player took over, but I'm pretty sure the new player took over. He might just keep the formations the way they are because he doesn't play Ulm. He's not an Ulm player. He might trust this guy to know what he was doing, which, you know, we saw he didn't. And he might keep the formations the same, or he might change them up, and then we might be in a bit of trouble. So I guess we'll learn that next time. We'll find out if he actually is successful or not. Before the end of this very, very long turned episode, let's go over the mercenaries. I'm not bidding on anything, and neither is Neefel. And the reason is it goes back to hitting this capital. Neefel doesn't have a very good way to knock down a fort. So what we're going to do is that we're going to sit on that fort, and then we're going to buy all the mercenaries. And that's why we're kind of hoping these guys stay up. Research real quick. Nothing has changed. We are 8 away from Conjuration 2, which is, it's sad, but Conjuration 2 doesn't really give us anything immediately. So we're kind of just fine with it. Does it? Yeah, it doesn't give anything. I didn't know that. I didn't. Storm power, water power is earlier. Yeah, I haven't played a whole lot of. Well, I guess I did play Air Nations, but I haven't played a whole lot of Water Nations that were predominantly water. But yeah, so we're still aiming for 3 for construction, 3 for summon Earth power, and I think that's gonna be it. The big question next turn is the sub is now in, and does he change the formation in order to allow in order to allow Niflheim, or to destroy Niflheim? And Arco has flying units, and is he going to end up raiding the crud out of us so that we can't produce any more units? He could theoretically even raid Niflheim's capital. This war is not over, but we're looking good. I'm not sending as many troops as I maybe should have as well, because I'm now worried that Tianchi is going to get is going to start taking my only mountain province down here. So the game is afoot. We're meeting our ally, or our neighbors. We're gonna try to make some allies. We're gonna try to pwn some noobs, and we're gonna see what happens next turn. So look forward to seeing you then. Have a good one.